Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for another pull workout. And I made some changes today. Well, a little bit of a change. I decided to do good mornings. I'm going to have a video coming out in a few days discussing why I'm adding good mornings in again. I feel like for my general lower body accessory work, I think the three exercises I really want to start honing in on based upon my own past experience lifting over the decades. And people need to remember, they're always like, why are you so weak after decades? Because I don't have decades of continuous lifting. Remember that, guys. I had to take a 4-year break from training, doctor's orders. I spent 10 months in bed. I had to learn to walk again. So I don't have decades of uninterrupted training. And, contrary to the rumors out there, I don't have decades of anabolic abuse or any of that, guys. I had to rebuild from nothing. And then go back and get my squat back over 500 and all that a few years ago. So, which I'm trying to get back to now as I'm slow cutting down now. That'll be nice. I'm going to see if I can try to get it back to 500 when I'm under 200 pounds. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I think it's a worthy goal to reach for. I'm not going to be terribly upset if I don't reach it, but it might be reasonable. Messing with the hook grip. I bumped the weight slightly, trying to rebuild my hook grip. You guys notice I lost my hook on that third rep. I was looking at it and I realized my liquid grip was still wet on my right thumb. So it totally slipped on me. I was wondering why it was. It felt slippery on the first 2 reps. And it's really kind of funny because I'm like, why is my thumb so slippery on the right side, but the left side is just gripping perfect. And then once I looked down and checked it when I turned the camera off, the liquid grip was not 100% dry. I guess I coated it too thick on the right thumb and it wasn't dry yet. And so it slipped, but you know what? We'll get it next time. So we'll do that next time. By the way, people were getting the math wrong. They thought that I was deadlifting like 300 something last time. That's 425. And no, that's not strong. That's where my hook grip is. And you guys need to understand, I haven't been deadlifting. I pulled my lower back. We're rebuilding it. We're going to start light. And I'm going to let my rebuilding my hook grip determine how much I deadlift. Right? That's going to be my limiting factor. Particularly after a lower back pull, because I think that's good. That'll let me limit what I'm doing as my back recovers and heals. And I had one person, and I'm going to be polite about it, who said, and you know who you are, bro. I think you should do a heavy set with straps after. It's like, why would I do that? I've already pulled my lower back. I need to rebuild my lower back. Also, given that my hook grip is possibly going to be the limiting factor as it develops, why would I ever want to deadlift more than what my hook grip can hold? Like why would I do that? That's not going to help me in any meaningful way from a competitive lifting perspective. And I'm not trying to do limit sets on deadlifts right now. I'm rebuilding. I save limit sets on deadlifts for usually peaking for a meet. All right. We're in the gym to build strength, not demonstrate it. I use a lot of other exercises to help build my deadlift. The deadlift is one of those lifts that I actually do like a lot of accessory work to build it up, and it's mainly because the deadlift itself is so taxing. And we'll get into that more later as I rebuild all of this stuff. I mean, people have forgotten that historically because they've seen me do a lot of heavy deadlifting over the years, and they have seen me occasionally do high frequency or high volume deadlifting. But people need to remember, even since being on YouTube, there have been periods of time to where I went months without deadlifting. And they came back and just pulled some heavy ass weights immediately. I love the deadlift. And I'm probably not going to pull it back out of my rotation at this point. But, the deadlift is not everything to building a deadlift. Now, I'm relearning the good mornings. Some people are going to notice I probably need to go a little lower on the torso on these. And I started getting lower as I went, as I got more sets in, because I realized I'm not quite getting there. So I've got to work on the range of motion. Now, a lot of people are going to be like, why do you have all the knee travel? Why aren't you bending further down? Because I'm doing these as a big compound. These are going to be a power movement eventually. I've got to relearn the form, but I have a long history of doing good mornings as part of my training. I'll have a video coming out explaining why I'm adding them back in. But if you guys recall, when I first got on YouTube, on the other channel, actually, before I even started this current one, back when it was called Ice Cream Fitness, which was technically a different country. This is not a British channel, by the way, not the same. I had a British channel, and it does matter where you register your channel, because I was living in the UK at the time. I was doing good mornings with 3 plates aside plus chains. So we're talking about what, like 365 for sets of, you know, whatever. I forgot how many reps. I'd have to go check some old footage. So, I mean, I've obviously have a history of doing pretty heavy good mornings. I'm not trying to get super far over, and the reason being I don't want it rolling down my neck. I'm trying to build strength on it, and I'm going to eventually be using some relatively heavy weights. And it's not just about building the lower back. This is, for me, an exercise to build thoracic strength, because I feel like my thoracic strength has suffered a lot coming back to squatting. And it's an exercise to help build thoracic strength. All right. Help power you through that in a squat. Also, I feel like it carries over to my deadlift tremendously. If you guys notice, the form is relatively similar to my Romanian deadlifts, with a slightly wider stance. But yeah, I do have knee travel. It is a hip hinge. There is a partial squat involved with, again, just a forward lean. So essentially my good morning looks very similar to a good morning squat. And the whole point there is that you're essentially fighting against that to, again, build thoracic erectors up. So the good morning, the way I do them is the way a lot of strength athletes do similar to this. It's not just being done as a little small fluff movement. It's a full body movement. And it is being done to build hamstrings, because I do get a hamstring stretch. It's being done to build thoracic erectors, spinal erectors, hips. And it is a partial exercise for some of those, like the deadlift is, but it actually is really, really effective for all your erectors and your hamstrings, which is essentially why I'm doing it. And I'll rotate through it later as both kind of a power type exercise and more of a volume exercise. For now, it's going to be done for volume. It's going to be done for volume because I need to relearn the technique. I need to build the musculature up, and we'll start ramping the weight up a little bit next session. But I felt I just needed to start with a bunch of sets of 8 with a really light weight, start learning the form again, make sure my lower back and everything can handle it, and work it back in. But I think at this point, the accessory movements I'm going to really mess with based upon me messing with new stuff a little bit now, and then going back to my traditional ones. Front squats and good mornings are something I have used historically as accessories to get both my squat and deadlift over 600 in my 20s. I'm a fan of both exercises. And I stayed away from good mornings for a long time, and I feel like I suffered for it a little bit. I feel like I lost something. So that, and then the glute bridges. The glute bridges I did last time, I feel like those are going to have a lot of potential to work back into my program. So glute bridges are going to be my other one over time. And it doesn't mean I'm going to be doing all 3 of these every week, right? That's what we need to understand. It means I'm going to use them at different points in my training moving forward, right? Use them in different parts of my training moving forward. And you guys will see one person already guessed correctly in the training session yesterday what I'm going to be doing coming up. So get ready for all that. So one person guessed correctly. They know what's about to happen. Not about to happen now, like this month. I feel like I need to rebuild my lower back, rebuild a little bit of squat and deadlift, and then we'll go into it more. Cheat curls. I've been doing lots of cheat curls. Why? Because I'm not doing pull-ups. I feel like pull-ups helped a lot with my biceps. I've started getting borderline overuse injuries from too many pull-ups. So I'm going to go back to rows for a little while. We're going to need these cheat curls. We're going to need them. And we might get to a point to where I do them every workout. Because I think that's the one thing strength athletes, often people complain they don't look like bodybuilders even when they're leaners because their biceps. That's it. That's the only reason. It's the only reason. So I'll do some bicep work, but it's going to be big, heavy cheat curls. We're going to stick with the philosophy of strength training, right? We're going to stick with this philosophy of real strength training. But I'm getting some veins going. What's up with all that? Got some arm veins. Maybe that extra cardio I started doing. Finally threw some cardio back in. Very, very light cardio. But also people need to remember that with the cardio, people are like, why aren't you doing this and that now? Because this is going to have to be done in phases. I'm going to have to add new elements one at a time and let my body adapt. All right. So things like some explosive work, like as far as any Olympic lifting and then GPP work and things like that, they're going to have to be added one phase at a time. So while I'm rebuilding a little bit of squat strength, I'm adding in some very, very, very easy light cardio. I'm talking non-taxing cardio. And I'm going to have to rotate in and program all these different elements over time. But yeah, it's time to keep moving forward. We've lost a lot of body fat. I can keep losing body fat, but it is time to really get serious. It's time to get serious now. So we're going to get there. So I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.